It's my privilege now to introduce Dave Jones from Westpac. Poor Davey was drowned on the way coming here. I think he looks okay. Dave has 29 years in the banking industry with experience coming up through the ranks of, obviously, the industry, operating in branch, international and various lending roles from relationship management to credit through to senior levels. He's had many, many roles in different banks as well. He's been appointed head of Agribusiness in December 2006 in Westpac. He's obviously got some interest outside banking, and that involves horse eventing and hockey. So can we welcome Dave Jones to the podium, and we're delighted to hear what you've got to say.
Thanks very much, Don. I might have interest in eventing and hockey, but I don't play or participate. Right. So that's left to my teenage daughters. But good morning and greetings to Don Nicholson, Connor English, and other guests and Federated Farmer members. On behalf of Westpac and Westpac's Agribusiness, it's a pleasure to be here today. We've been a major sponsor of Federated Farmers for a few years now, and it's a privilege to be able to do so. Although our economists are saying the recession is over, it will take a few years of hard work before we see a return to real growth and productivity. However, the farming sector is well positioned for the future and prosperity. As the emerging economies increase the demand for food, especially for protein, interestingly, these economies are China, South America, and Asia, along with Australia. And they are the first to rebound from the global economic recession, way ahead of our markets, or our old markets, Europe, the US and the UK. Certainly the latest Fonterra payout forecast of over $6 is good news for the dairy farmers. All we need now is for the dollar to come down to benefit all farmers. I suppose I will take a pause here and just talk about 29 years of banking. And I suppose when I reflect on it, the last 24 months have been the worst that I've actually seen in any economic downturn or in the industry for the financial sector. We see the global credit crunch. We've seen the financial sector collapse. We've seen banks that were basically well-known, well-named, ranked in the top 1 to 20 aren't there anymore. We've moved up to a 15th ranking in the world. We haven't moved up there because we're the greatest bank, but we've had a pragmatic approach to our markets. We've moved up because other banks have failed. They have simply failed. They got caught up in basically, I suppose, subprime lending. But one thing that we can actually take pride in the Australasian market with the financial sector, it is sound. It is exceptionally sound, and it has been well managed by APRA and the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. We talk about the industry, we talk about the stresses that are in there. I'm often asked, have you changed your assessment of risk when you're lending into a sector? Now, regardless of whether it's agricultural, whether it's commercial, or whether it's housing, no, our assessment hasn't changed. The market has changed. The commodity prices came back. The payout reduced. The return at the gate reduced. Gross farm incomes reduced. Farm working expenses went up. Interest costs went up. What was punched out at the bottom, it's used for reinvestment or the capacity to service, wasn't there any longer. So when we had a look at lending transactions across any sector, our view didn't change, but our assessment for the long-term benefit of those customers did. Our position was reviewed as looking at, do they have a cash flow that will sustain a business for 10, 15 and 20 years? In the last 6 to 12 months, it maybe wasn't there. So we took a view out 2 to 3 years out. We took a view 5 years out. We run a status quo, particularly for the dairy industry, and we work similar models for dry stock and cropping. But the one thing that we have been consistent always is that what we refer to as our assessment has never changed. The markets have changed. And what I would invite you to do as, I suppose, advocates for the sector and as borrowers is to challenge your banks in the way they assess the risk profile and the interest rates. I see this morning there's a survey that you sent out to your members around interest rates, keeping the banking sector honest. Absolutely. It is exceptionally important that you do that. But there still needs to be a pragmatic view around how interest rates are derived. The old OCR rule is out the back door. What is it, 250 points? We access short-term money roughly about 500 points, 450 to 500 points. So we can't place a margin of 200 points above the OCR. We'd be out of business. The same as you, in the farming community, running a business, you must make a profit. We must make a profit. That's why the Australasian banking system is sound. We have made money. I do not believe for any moment that we have been greedy. Our business is to protect our shareholders, the people that invest with us, the depositors, and the people that borrow from us. We do it recklessly, we won't be in business. Yep, the last 24 months there's been stress. There's been some bad debt provisioning. There's also been some tax issues right across all of the banks. These are things that are out in the public eye. But remember, we're still operating the same model. We haven't changed the rules at all. World markets and what happens within your P&L and balance sheet has changed quite considerably.